Before fire came into the picture, prehistoric humans had only one option: raw, and not the fresh kind of raw. In many cases, it was old, half-decomposed meat scavenged from predator kills. Imagine stumbling upon a half-eaten gazelle, still warm from the lions that tore it apart, and thinking, hey, free lunch. Early hominins like Australopithecus and Homo habilis were opportunistic scavengers. They didn't yet have the tools or numbers to take down large prey themselves, so they learned to follow the big cats and vultures, sneaking in after the feast to grab what was left: skin, cartilage, bits of muscle, and most importantly, bones. Why bones? Because inside them is marrow, a rich, fatty, calorie-dense substance that doesn't rot as fast. They used sharp rocks to crack open the bones to suck out the marrow. It's one of the earliest examples of tool use in human history. They also prized brains, not for their intelligence, but because brains are packed with omega-3 fatty acids, crucial for developing, well, better brains. So yes, our brains may have literally been built by eating other brains. Modern diets favor muscle meat: steak, chicken breast, pork chops. But prehistoric humans, they went for the guts first: liver, heart, kidneys, intestines, lungs. These were nutritional gold mines. Liver alone contains more vitamin A than most vegetables. The intestines were often cleaned out or not, and eaten boiled or raw. And yes, even bile and stomach contents were consumed. There's evidence that Homo erectus, who lived over 1.5 million years ago, consumed the partially digested stomach contents of herbivores. Why? Because it contained fibrous plants they couldn't digest themselves, already broken down by the animal's enzymes. In other words, they ate secondhand salads. Some groups even drank blood from freshly killed animals, especially in Africa and the Arctic, both for ritual and nutrition. To them, it wasn't gross. It was survival. Insects weren't a last resort. They were part of the menu. Fatty grubs, termites, beetles, and larvae were everywhere and required almost no tools to catch. For early humans, this was fast food. Grab a stick, poke into a log, and boom, instant protein. Studies of Neanderthal dental plaque found traces of insect exoskeletons, proving they regularly munched on bugs. In tropical climates, early Homo sapiens likely feasted on ants and caterpillars. And here's a twist. Insects provided essential fats, which were hard to get from lean meat. In fact, you can die of protein poisoning if you eat too much lean meat and not enough fat. So bugs were essential, if not exactly tasty. Think of them as the original trail mix. Crunchy, a little juicy, and still squirming. Why would someone eat dirt? Believe it or not, prehistoric humans sometimes intentionally consumed clay and charcoal. This wasn't a dare or desperation. It was strategy. Some wild plants, like yams, tubers, and seeds, contain natural toxins. Early humans figured out that mixing these foods with clay or ash could neutralize the poisons. The minerals in the soil would bind to the toxins and help carry them out of the body. Anthropologists just call this practice geophagy, and it still happens today in some cultures. Charcoal too was eaten, either deliberately or accidentally from burnt food, and it had detoxifying effects in the gut. It's not glamorous, but when your options are 1, maybe eat dirt and survive, or 2, don't eat and starve, dirt doesn't sound so bad. There's overwhelming evidence that some prehistoric humans practiced cannibalism. In Spain, human bones dating back over 800,000 years show cut marks, scraped lines, and crushed skulls, indications that flesh was removed and marrow was extracted. Was it ritual? Possibly. But in many cases, it looks like practical cannibalism. During times of extreme food shortages, they turned to each other. Neanderthals, too, show signs of cannibalism in caves across Europe. In some locations, entire groups seem to have been butchered for food. Scientists call it nutritional cannibalism, and while it makes modern stomachs turn, for prehistoric humans, it may have been the difference between extinction and survival. Here's a fun one. Prehistoric humans might have had an accidental taste for fermented foods. Rotting fruit produces alcohol, and there's evidence that some primates and early humans deliberately sought out overripe fruit that had started to ferment. Why? It had more calories, and possibly gave them a buzz. The drunken monkey hypothesis suggests that the human brain evolved to associate the smell of fermentation with high energy, a survival trait. But fermentation wasn't just about fun. Rotting meat, if done right, actually preserves it. Some groups may have stored meat underground or under cold rocks, creating early versions of what we'd now call aged meat, or depending on how it went, rotting flesh salad. prehistoric diets weren't just physical, they may have had mind-altering effects too. Some plants and fungi are hallucinogenic. There's archaeological speculation that early humans experimented, intentionally or accidentally, with magic mushrooms, psychoactive seeds, and even frog toxins. Cave art in Spain and Algeria appears to show mushroom-headed figures, possibly indicating ritual use of psychedelics tens of thousands of years ago. Were they doing it for fun? For visions? For shamanic rituals? We don't know. But the fact that they kept eating these substances, despite the risks, suggests they found something valuable in them, even if it came with a side of nausea. So, what have we learned from our prehistoric menu? Our ancient ancestors ate brains, bugs, bile, and dirt. They experimented with toxins. They scavenged half-rotted meat. And when things got desperate, they ate each other. But it wasn't just survival. It was innovation, trial and error, a million-year-long taste test of the planet. And thanks to that, we get to enjoy cheeseburgers, coffee, and chocolate. So the next time you roll your eyes at kale, quinoa, or tofu, remember, your ancestors would have eaten all three, raw, unwashed, and possibly still moving. Thanks for sticking around for this dive into prehistoric cuisine. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dive content, and let us know in the comments, what's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten?